We are hearing SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM introduction. Gaur Lila. As long as the Lord remained at Puri, thousands of his devotees used to come to see him during the Ratha Yatra car festival of Lord Jagannath. And during the car festival, the washing of the Gundicha temple under the direct supervision of the Lord was an important function. The Lord's congregational Sankirtan movement at Puri was a unique exhibition for the mass of people. That is the way to turn the mass mind towards spiritual realization. The Lord inaugurated this system of mass Sankirtan, and leaders of all countries can take advantage of this spiritual movement in order to keep the mass of people in a pure state of peace and friendship with one another. This is now the demand of the present human society all over the world. When Mahaprabhu was going through Jarikanda forest, and he was loudly chanting, and there was not mass, but the point is quality. Real name, he was chanting, and this entered into the ears of animals, ferocious animals in the forest, and awakened them to their real eternal nature, that they are eternal servants of Krishna, and they could see all others in relation to Krishna. So there was no enmity between those animals which are by nature enemy to each other, means food of each other, like deer and tiger, rabbit and elephant, like this. It is by nature that they are eating each other and fearing each other like this, but that time they were awakened to their actual real identity, so there was no question of any enmity or anything. But as long as we are in worldly ego, then quarrels are inevitable. With some, you will cooperate for some purpose, for some time, and then that also will come into quarrel after some time. The only way, here Srila Sai Maharaj is saying, if one wants to keep people in a pure state of peace and friendship, then that is only one way. You have to yourself do pure kirtan, and you have to inspire others to do pure kirtan. If they will accept pure kirtan, then there can be peace and friendship. Otherwise, it is impossible. Fighting is inevitable due to false ego. And the point is, we don't fully accept this teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about Nama Sankirtan. We don't like to give up our false ego and false desires. Even we try to use this Sankirtan for these purposes, for money or for like this. So then this is also happening. It is not so easy. Our Gurudev told, even if someone by the previous eternal good deeds Sukriti comes in contact with a real devotee and he gets his mercy, it is very difficult to give up our egotism, which we acquired by so many births before. It's not so easy. But as long as it will be there, there will be problem. Not because of others or environment or anything, but because of this. So the more we can clear this by Nama Sankirtan, the more we can be in peace with ourselves and also with others and friendship, because that real sadhu, he does not see anyone as his enemy. It is impossible for him to see like that. They are another country, they are enemies, we are this country, and they are our allies, friends, like this. He cannot see like that. He sees all really related to Krishna. And I am related to Krishna, we are all interrelated. So this is now the demand of the present human society all over the world. We all living entities demand this, means we desire this. It is natural, because we are Satchit, Ananda in our real self. That is why we have this desire. But because we turned ourselves away from Krishna and wanted to enjoy this Maya, we think we can get Satchit Ananda, but it is not possible, because there is no Satchit Ananda in this world and in the fulfillment of selfish desires. Looks like that, like phantasmagoria, looks like water is there, but it is not. The more you go towards the water, the more it will move away, and the more you will be thirsty, and you will never get that, you will die. That is illusion. So, as long as we try to be happy being averse to Krishna, good luck. It is not possible. So, a real devotee can turn us or the mass of people to pure state. But of course, in this world also it is sometimes more mass, sometimes less. It depends what kind of jivas are there, with Sukriti or not, like this. So sometimes you will see when Mahaprabhu came, there were more, and then less and more, and like this. It's always going on, because it depends on Sukriti of people. But that doesn't condition that I should not accept. Prahlad Maharaj was the only devotee in that area, only one, but he had no problem. So we should not count on the mass. And you can have mass of like people chanting, but if that is not real name, one pure devotee is not leading, then that, even if it is big mass, that will not help. Quality is important. Prahlad Maharaj said, I did not get this devotion by my own effort and with the help of others, and not by combined effort. So quantity or mass is not the factor. Factor is whether one really accepts the service of Krishna or not. As long as we don't fully accept, we will have to suffer. It is like this, to teach us. This suffering is to teach us that we are doing something wrong. So demand is there, and of all people, but they're in a wrong way they are trying to achieve. And pure devotees also, they are always available by the grace of Krishna. But then it depends. Those who really want eternal welfare, they will come in contact and they will accept. Others will not. It will always go on like this like arrangement. But then, again, I'm saying, that should not stop me from accepting. if there are not 100 people coming, then I will also not do. If 200,000 people are not there, no critical mass, then I will also not do. That is foolishness. I have to do. I have to accept the service of Krishna. After some time, the Lord again started on his tour towards northern India, and he decided to visit Vrindavan and its neighboring places. He passed through the jungles of Jarikhanda, and all the wild animals also joined his Sankirtan movement. The wild tigers, elephants, bears, and deer all together accompanied the Lord, and the Lord accompanied them in Sankirtan. By this he proved that by the propagation of the Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting and glorifying of the name of the Lord, even the wild animals can live in peace and friendship, and what to speak of men who are supposed to be civilized. But it needs real kirtan, not with anarthas, with offenses, this. No man in the world will refuse to join the Sankirtan movement. Nor is the Lord's Sankirtan movement restricted to any caste, creed, color, or species. Here is direct evidence of his great mission. He allowed even the wild animals to partake in his great movement. And also the trees, they also were rescued by hearing holy name, and birds in the sky and aquatic animals, all, because all are atmas and they need to be awakened. So if I am disturbed, it means there is something, some ulterior desire is there. I am not accepting actual service of Krishna, or not fully. On his way back from Vrindavan, he first came to Prayag, where he met Rupa Goswami along with his younger brother Anupam. Then he came down to Benares. For 2 months, he instructed Sri Sanatana Goswami in the transcendental science. The instruction to Sanatana Goswami is in itself a long narration, and full presentation of the instruction will not be possible here. The main ideas are given as follows. Sanatana Goswami, formerly known as Sakar Malik, was in the cabinet service of the Bengal government under the regime of Nawab Hussain Shah. He decided to join with the Lord and thus retired from the service. On his way back from Vrindavan, when he reached Varanasi, the Lord became the guest of Sri Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar, assisted by a Maharashtra Brahmin. At that time, Varanasi was headed by a great sannyasi of the Mayavada school named Shripad Prakashananda Saraswati. When the Lord was at Varanasi, the people in general became more attracted to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on account of his mass Sankirtan movement. Wherever he visited, especially the Vishwanath temple, that is Shiva, thousands of pilgrims would follow him. Some were attracted by his bodily features, and others were attracted by his melodious songs, glorifying the Lord. This is the point, glorifying the Lord. He was singing for the satisfaction of Krishna, not for making a show and trying to impress on people to get some worldly popularity. We heard this when Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj was singing in North India, and all were listening guests. Then some devotees said, Krishnadas Babaji, here people, they don't understand these Sanskrit songs and Bengali songs, so you sing something else. And another day they engaged another one to sing some Hindi songs, some popular Hindi songs. But the people themselves then complained, why you changed? We like to hear Babaji Maharaj because he's singing from the core of his heart and we are getting some transcendental effect on us. The transcendental bliss is coming. Yes, we don't understand what he's singing, but we understand this is not ordinary singing and we are attracted to the service of Krishna. Why? Because Babaji Maharaj is serving Krishna. He's not making a show for the people. You may do show for the people and you will get such people. And what actual benefit you will get by this? You may have so many followers for enjoyment. And you yourself, you will enjoy like this. And mutually they will praise each other. Yes, very good, thank you, yeah, all this. But if you sing for the service of Krishna, you will get eternal bliss. And those people who are interested in the service of Krishna, they will be attracted, they will appreciate, and you will get their association. Otherwise, what is the use of getting that cheap worldly popularity? What kind of actual happiness will come from that? Only misery when after some time they will criticize you or you will not be popular anymore. You can be popular only for some time, not for a long time, because new will come, new younger actor or some with new voice like this. So what is the use? So here, why they were attracted? Because melodious songs glorifying the Lord. One time, one devotee asked our Gurudev, is it important to sing very nicely melody like this? Then Guru said, it is not, this is not important. The important is it should be for the satisfaction of Krishna, and if besides that there is also good melody, that is okay. Both can be there, that is okay, or only one. Target should be this, then it is okay. But if only for melody, nice melody like this, then that is useless. It will not help you, not anyone else, actually. The Mayavadi sannyasis designate themselves as Narayan. Varanasi is still overflooded with many Mayavadi sannyasis. Some people who saw the Lord in his Sankirtan party considered him to be actually Narayan. And this report reached the camp of the great sannyasi Prakashananda. In India, there is always a kind of spiritual rivalry between the Mayavad and the Bhagavata schools, and thus, when the news of the Lord reached Prakashananda, he knew that the Lord was a Vaishnava sannyasi, and therefore he minimized the value of the Lord before those who brought him the news. He deprecated the activities of the Lord because of his preaching the Sankirtan movement, which was, in his opinion, nothing but religious sentiment. Prakashananda was a profound student of the Vedanta, and he advised his followers to give attention to the Vedanta and not to indulge in Sankirtan, just the opposite. Mayavadis, they think ultimate reality is formless Brahma, and I'm that. everything else is false. So attainment of that identity realization is ultimate goal. But because on lower platform of spiritual advancement, we are unable to meditate on impersonal, formless. So that impersonal, formless takes some mic form to help us to get concentration and to offer our devotion to Him for the sake of concentration and channeling emotions and all this. Then after some time, when you become eligible to meditate on that impersonal, then this is not required anymore. They will stop chanting, they will stop deity worship, they will stop everything, because not necessary. So they think Vaishnavas, they are foolish, they are low sentimentalists, they don't know about the Vedanta. But the Vaishnavas, real Vaishnavas, not pseudo, you have some Mayavadi Vaishnavas also, they with wrong conception. Or some are karma kandiya, they want some material benefits. They will worship, but their target is to get material benefits. So they are not pure devotees. But pure devotees, they know that this Mayavad philosophy is not correct, because they are denying eternality of Krishna, of devotees, and of devotion. It may be some kind of progress from the Buddhist side, because at least they are accepting the Vedas, but it is not actual purport of the Vedas. So they try to refute their explanation. So this rivalry. So Prakashananda Saraswati, he said, he's a Vaishnava sannyasi. That is why he's doing this Sankirtan. Low class. One devotee Brahmana who became a devotee of the Lord did not like the criticism of Prakashananda, and he went to the Lord to express his regrets. He told the Lord that when he uttered the Lord's name before the sannyasi Prakashananda, the latter strongly criticized the Lord, although the Brahmana heard Prakashananda uttering several times the name Chaitanya. The Brahmana was astonished to see that the sannyasi Prakashananda could not vibrate the sound Krishna even once, although he uttered the name Chaitanya several times, because he thought it is useless to chant Krishna's name. Why? That is mic. I already got concentration, so there is no use of chanting that name. The Lord smilingly explained to the devotee Brahmana why the Mayavadi cannot utter the holy name of Krishna. The Mayavadis are offenders at the lotus feet of Krishna, although they utter always Brahma, not with long A at the end, but Brahma, like Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Not four-headed Brahma, but Brahma in Bengali. That is supreme truth or absolute truth or the great. Many different meanings Brahma is there. Ultimate reality. And so Brahma, Atma or Chaitanya. Atma for them also is impersonal. And only one Atma exists. Not many Atmas. Although in Upanishad it is stated Nitya Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. There is one eternal among many eternals, one conscious among many eternals, but they misinterpret. I saw the commentary by Shankaracharya, how he misinterpreted this. It's really genius how he misinterpreted this. It is very clear Direct meaning is very clear. One eternal among many eternal, one conscious among many conscious, and this one is fulfilling the desires of those many. Very clear. But how Shankara, I was astonished, really genius, that one enters into many, like all jivas, they are Brahma, but they don't know now they are Brahma, but once that ignorance is removed, then there is no more difference. He explained in this way. One eternal goes into many. Like, or one moon is there, and you will find the reflection of that same moon in many pots of water or oil or something. Once you break the pots, there is not many, only one. So like this he interpreted. Of course it is not correct, because there are other verses also they will substantiate, but he had to do this on the order of Govinda. But really it is astonishing how he, genius. So they will utter Brahma, Atma and Chaitanya, means consciousness. But they will not admit plurality of Atmas and plurality of conscious beings. And Brahma is one, but they will not accept his attributes, qualities, form, all this. And because they are offenders at the lotus feet of Krishna, they are actually unable to utter the holy name of Krishna. The name Krishna and the personality of Godhead Krishna are identical. There is no difference in the absolute realm between the name, form, or person of the absolute truth, because in the absolute realm everything is transcendental bliss. There is no difference between the body and the soul for the personality of Godhead Krishna. Thus he is different from the living entity who is always different from his outward body, conditioned soul. But the real self of living entity, that Atma, in relation to Krishna, he is also person, and the form are non-different, of Jiva also, when in a liberated state. There is no, because of Krishna's transcendental position, it is very difficult for a layman to actually know the personality of Godhead Krishna, his holy name and fame, etc. His name, fame, form, and pastimes are all one and the same transcendental identity, and they are not knowable by the exercise of the material senses. Atashi Krishna Namadina Bhavet Grajyam Indriye. You cannot comprehend with material senses. That is beyond. When you are inclined to serve Krishna, then he will reveal himself. Then you can understand this, how it is. So, one may utter Krishna, but that does not mean that he is actually chanting real name, Krishna. If offenses are there, or if he is not having any material desires, and there are no offenses to Vishnu and Vaishnava, but no knowledge of relationship with Krishna, then his chanting of the name will be Nama Abhas. And that Nama Abhas may be of two types. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained, one is Chaya Nama Abhas, one is Pratibimba Nama Abhas. In Harinam Chintamani. Chaya means you don't have clear conception of identity of Supreme Lord and yourself and your relationship, but you are not offensive in the sense that you are thinking that this is material sound reflected here. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave example, someone may be looking towards this sky and there are clouds, but some ray of sun is passing, so he is seeing that, but not full conception, he is not seeing. But there is no offense because he is seeing in proper direction. When those clouds will be removed, then he will see the sun and himself in relation to the sun, everything he will see. That is Chayanamabhas. This is not offensive. But another one is that someone is seeing the reflection of the sun in the water and thinking that is the sun and having wrong conception about him. Like if you little shake the water, then that sun will also transform its form. So you will think, oh, sun is like this. But the sun is there on this in the sky. Sun is not transformed by your shaking the water. But I'm thinking, and this is temporary form. And another thing is, there is no heat from the sun, has no potency, because I'm seeing the reflection. So they are wrongly thinking what is Krishna. Totally wrong. That is offensive, that Namabhas. They may not have worldly desires, but they have desire for liberation, but they have this wrong conception of Supreme Lord, so that is offensive. Only if they get the grace of pure devotee, realized soul, they can be rescued from that calamity. But that Chayanama Basi, if he will go on chanting, then that cloud will be removed and he can see. Or devotees, when they are chanting, they have some conception of their sambandha with Krishna, but they are not fully realized. If they go on serving, they will realize. Namavasis also they will realize gradually, and this pratibimba, they have to change their conception and their attitude. So only one who is a pure devotee, who is chanting pure name, he can understand this, that there is no difference between Krishna and his name and pastimes and everything, and they are self-effulgent. You cannot create them in your mind, in your imagination. They are already existing eternally, and they are as they are. You only have to realize by submitting, by receiving, by accepting the self-effulgent. That is why one kind of nam aparat is this, to think with material intelligence, with material experience, to think Krishna and Krishna's name are different. Because we find in this world, water and water thing are different. If you speak water, 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 you cannot quench your thirst. If you speak fire, 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 your tongue will not be burnt. But if you come in contact with water, real water, you can quench your thirst, and real fire will burn you. But such type of difference is not there in Krishna's name and him. But we cannot realize that unless through realization, when we have proper attitude and proper chanting, then we can realize. Then we will see this sort of conception is offensive to the name, displeasing. And Krishna does not like people criticizing those who know the glory of the name, realized devotees, and they are propagating his glory all over the world, or Gurudev. If someone is criticizing, that is the greatest offense, means greatest displeasing act to Harinam or to Supreme Lord, because he is revealing the glories and you are criticizing them. That is a great block. But just the opposite. If we can submit to Vaishnava, if we can submit to Guru and follow their instruction, then chanting will automatically come on our tongue, real chanting, by their grace. Service of Krishna will get. The transcendental relationship of the pastimes of the Lord is the source of still more bliss than one can experience by realization of Brahman or by becoming one with the Supreme. Had it not been so, then those who are already situated in the transcendental bliss of Brahman would not have been attracted by the transcendental bliss of the pastimes of the Lord. Example is Shukadev Goswami. He was fully getting Brahmananda before, but he became attracted to Krishna. He cannot be attracted to anything mundane because already he's having higher taste, higher bliss. So Krishna Lila is not something mundane. He proved this. And there were many Gyanis in the assembly there. So the Shukadev Goswami was sent there. And he said by his own example, it was not out of ego, but for the welfare of all. He said, I was realized in Brahmananda, but I became attracted to Krishna. So it means that is transcendental and that is superior. So Mayavadis should learn from his example. That it is not that Krishna's Lila, all this is material and something low. That is, you will find the example in Shukadev and also 4 Kumaras. They were also established in Brahmananda. But getting the scent of Tulsi offered to the lotus feet of Narayan, they were attracted to service of Narayan and they accepted. After this, a great meeting was arranged by the devotees of the Lord, in which all the sannyasis were invited, including the Lord and Prakashananda Saraswati. In this meeting, both the scholars, the Lord and Prakashananda, had a long discourse on the spiritual values of the Sankirtan movement, and a summary is given below. The great Mayavadi sannyasi Prakashananda inquired from the Lord as to the reason for his preferring the Sankirtan movement to the study of the Vedanta Sutra. Prakashananda said that it is the duty of a sannyasi to read the Vedanta Sutra. What caused the Lord to indulge in Sankirtan? After this inquiry, the Lord submissively replied, I have taken to the Sankirtan movement instead of the study of Vedanta because I am a great fool. He said, my spiritual master told me I have no qualification to read Vedanta because I am a fool. But there is another way to get ultimate goal of life, and he gave that verse, Harer Nam verse, and so I'm doing that. He gave me that Krishna mantra. The Lord thus represented himself as one of the numberless fools of this age who are absolutely incapable of studying Vedanta philosophy. The fool's indulgence in the study of Vedanta has caused so much havoc in society. The Lord thus continued, and because I am a great fool, my spiritual master forbade me to play with Vedanta philosophy, to play. He said that it is better that I chant the holy name of the Lord, for that would deliver me from material bondage. Vedanta is atato Brahma Jigyasa. Once you already gave up the pursuit for any material acquisition. That is Purva Mimamsa. prior inquiry, how to get material benefit. Once you go above that and you understand that that is not the real value, then you are qualified for Vedanta, Brahma Sutra. Otherwise you will not be able to understand and you will misuse. Even Vedanta you can misuse. What to speak of Krishna Lila if not approaching properly. In this age of Kali, there is no other religion but the glorification of the Lord by utterance of His holy name. And that is the injunction of all the revealed scriptures. And my spiritual master has taught me one shloka from the Brihad Naradiya Puran, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam eva kevalam, Kalau nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gotira anyata. There is a difference between Kali and Kali. Someone who does not know properly Sanskrit writing, he will see out of it Kali Kali. So, but it is not same. Kali is quarrel and hypocrisy. Gurudev said so much cheating. All this is Kali Juga. And Kali is that goddess. It is not same. Sometimes they mistype also. I saw they write Kali Yuga with two long A's, but it is not Kali Yuga, the age of goddess Kali. It is Kali or short A. But okay, if Bhav is fine, then Krishna is also accepting, even if we commit some grammatical mistake. If Bhav is okay. So on the order of my spiritual master, I chant the holy name of Hari, and I am now mad after this holy name. Whenever I utter the holy name, I forget myself completely, and sometimes I laugh, cry, and dance like a madman. I thought that I had actually gone mad by this process of chanting, and therefore I asked my spiritual master about it. He informed me that this was the real effect of chanting the holy name, which produces a transcendental emotion that is a rare manifestation. Transcendental emotion. It is the sign of love of God, which is the ultimate end of life. Love of God is transcendental to liberation, mukti, and thus it is called the fifth stage of spiritual realization, above the stage of liberation. By chanting the holy name of Krishna, one attains the stage of love of God, and it was good that fortunately I was favored with the blessing. We are hearing during Kartik, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Jerupe loile naam prem upajoy, tahar lakshan shlok shuno saruparamaya. We hear by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one attains the stage of love of God. That is correct. If you chant the holy name of Krishna, who is eligible to chant the holy name of Krishna? Or in what way, how, Jerupe, what kind of chanting or how chanting will deliver love of Krishna? If we omit this step, this point, how? We think, no, anyhow. It's just you chant, anyhow. That is not what Mahaprabhu's teaching is there. There is a how. And this how we have to learn from real devotee. then it will be possible. Because if you commit offenses and you are doing for some other desires and all these things, then that chanting will not produce love of Godhead. It may be Nama Parat or Nama Bhas, but not actual name. That is why Sadhu Sange Krishna Nama Matrachai. In the association of Sadhu, that is, he is always engaged in the service of Krishna. In association of Sadhu, you will get inclination for eternal service of Krishna. You cannot get such inclination in the company of karmis, gyanis, yogis, others. So Sadhu Sange Krishna Nam. Ei matra chai. Sangsar jinita ar kono vastu nahi. And our Gurudev also explained in all the 5 most important limbs of devotion, first Mahaprabhu mentioned Sadhu Sangha. Because without the grace of Sadhu Sangha, without getting proper teaching from him and proper example, proper guidance, one will not be able to chant properly name, one will not be able to properly hear Bhagavatam, understand Bhagavatam, to serve the deity, or to stay in transcendental realm. That will not be possible unless under the guidance of realized soul sadhu. Those teachings we have to accept. But if one will accept, then one will get Krishna Prem, surely. On hearing this statement from the Lord, the Mayavadi sannyasi asked the Lord, what was the harm in studying the Vedanta along with chanting the holy name? Prakashananda Saraswati knew well that the Lord was formerly known as Nimai Pandit, a very learned scholar of Navadip, and his posing as a great fool was certainly to some purpose. Hearing this inquiry by the sannyasi, the Lord smiled and said, my dear sir, if you do not mind, I will answer your inquiry. All the sannyasis there were very much pleased with the Lord for his honest dealings, and they unanimously replied that they would not be offended by whatever he replied, because already he attracted them. Now, first, he showed his transcendental beauty, and then his humbleness and honesty. I'm a fool, so this, and everything he spoke clearly, directly, not trying to impress and pose and cheat, all this. We are doing if we have some ulterior motives. For some purpose we are doing this, for some material target. The Lord then spoke as follows. Vedanta Sutra consists of transcendental words or sounds uttered by the transcendental personality of Godhead. As such, in the Vedanta, there cannot be any human deficiencies like mistake, illusion, cheating, or inefficiency, means imperfect senses. The message of the Upanishads is expressed in the Vedanta Sutra, and what is said there directly is certainly glorified. Whatever interpretations have been given by Shankaracharya have no direct bearing on the sutra, and therefore such commentation spoils everything. Krishna told in Gita, I am the compiler of Vedanta. I know its meaning, and all the Vedas and Vedanta, by them I am to be known. That is the purpose. You have to realize Krishna and your relationship with him, devotion, by the grace of the Veda, because they're coming from him, they are not different from him. If you receive as they are, Bhagavad Gita as it is. If you receive as it is, as they are the Vedas, then this will be result. But if you misinterpret because of trying to, with intellect, or being misled by Shankaracharya, then you will not get proper. So there is no difference between Vedanta and pure devotion and chanting pure name. There is no difference. But the problem is this misinterpretation, and also problem in chanting is this. If wrong attitude is there, wrong conception, wrong desires, all this. So by chanting he may not realize Krishna. And such type of chanting also Mahaprabhu would not approve. He himself told, you should give up aparadas and niraparada loile nam prem upajoy. So this instruction is also there, and other desires. So we have to learn, and then it will be. Otherwise, someone will say, no, I'm not studying Vedanta, I'm chanting. But if we try it and with wrong, then such chanting also is not approved by Mahaprabhu. So tomorrow we are having program in Croatia, Zagreb. So tomorrow there will be no Skype program unless someone will transfer from there. I don't know. Otherwise, on Saturday we will continue from this introduction.